Hi, everyone. I'm Mark, and welcome to our first show.
I'm Rob. Welcome to our first show.
So, hey, this is Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown, and we're going to talk today about the game coming up in just a couple hours. It's going to be the rematch of last year's finals in women's basketball, which
Yeah.
he's talking about because of Kate and Clark. Let's be honest. It ends and starts with Kate and Clark. It's Iowa
Uh,
versus LSU.
I don't know if it ends with her. You got, like I said, you got Reese in there, so I don't know if it ends with her. Caitlin Clark's definitely the factor of this game.
Definitely, it was definitely the duo themselves is part of the appeal of this game. And that's why I think the ratings will be really high. It will be the highest regular season women's game of all time, which means I think it's going to be 10 million or more. Because last year's finals was 9.9 million. Now that was on a network. It was going to be on a network channel. This is on ESPN. And ESPN now is only on less than 60% of the country. So I think it was going to be on a network like ABC and ESPN at the same time, like they do in Monday Night Football. I think you're hitting like 12, 15 million.
Yeah, they're still getting into it. I mean, a lot of people are not turned on yet by women's college basketball. So, to try to put them in a really big market and try to push it, I think it still has to be eased in because the WNBA is still not really that popular. But
And
they're trying to ease it in there. So
because Iowa got 5 million for the second round game and like 2.5 million for the first. And the third round game, the actual results, surprisingly, 2 days later, are still not out, which I'm not sure why. So we'll find out. We'll find out what the ratings is for that one, and for the round of 16, and for the round of 8, hopefully in the next day or two.
right.
But coming up on this game, so last year LSU won in a game that wasn't that close. They benefited from I guess her name was Jasmine Carson, came off the bench.
Yeah,
She hit five.
she hit some nice jump shots. She opened up the game for the inside because LSU has some big girls in there. They have a definite size advantage. So if she comes in, that shooter comes in, hitting the jump shots, that's going to open up because Iowa plays a zone. So once you start hitting the outside shots, they got to come out, and then on the inside they have the two. Of course, they got Reese, and they have another big girl in there, and it's going to be rough for Iowa.
Yeah, so she hit like five out of 5 threes and ended up like 7 for 8, and she was off the bench. And then they have another girl named, I guess, Ladiza Williams, who scored 20 points and 5 rebounds. And Alexis Morris was her point guard, and she had a huge second half. And so it turns out that Angel Reese was their 4th leading scorer in that game, and they lost the top 3 scorers from last game. And
Right.
But they do have Flajay, if I pronounce that right, Flajay Johnson, who was a freshman
good.
last year.
You did good, Flacce.
She's really good now. She's averaging over 14 points a game, and she plays really good defense.
She's very quick. She's got quick hands, and she's got real good and she's pretty fast.
And so she's an interesting person because now she got a lot better last year. She didn't play a lot of minutes in last year's final, but she might be covering Kate and Clark, and she might not be. It's unclear what they're going to do with that. I think she's the better defender than Haley Van Lith is her name, I think, is if I pronounced her last name wrong, that she's around 5'8".
Well, sometimes you want to put someone a little smaller on somebody because they can move their feet a little. Like you said, you want the quickness; they can move their feet a little bit better. And because Iowa has a nice little offense where they do a lot of back cuts. So, I mean, if you have someone maybe the same size as her, you might want to put someone a little bit smaller on Caitlin Clark just to disrupt her just a little bit.
We'll see what they do. I remember when Iowa played Connecticut in Caitlin Clark's freshman year, they didn't have Paige Beckers. That's actually the correct pronunciation, by the way. Paige Beckers. Cover Caitlin Clark because they didn't want to get her in foul trouble, and so they put another defender on her. I forgot her name, and that gave Connecticut an advantage. So we'll see what happens. What Kim Mulkey decides to do in terms of guarding Clark, because no one can stop her, so they're just going to slow her down. So
it can only help. Yeah, that's that one saying. It can only help to slow her down. Not going to stop her. Just help to slow her down a little.
So I think that the problem with putting Flajay Johnson, she's their second leading scorer, and she's their second best player. If she gets in foul trouble, that would be a problem for LSU.
Right. That's why I said put the smaller guard on her,
So
to be up on her a little bit. And after Kitten passes, she can deny the passes and watch the backdoor cuts and things like that.
So that strategically, that's the most interesting part to me. And then the other part is trying to cover Angel Reese because they have no one as tall or with the long arms that she has.
No, she's got she's got a nice smooth post move. She's a little injured right now, but I mean she still is. I mean, what a dominant little figure. She has very nice post moves. She works. Can tell she works on her game. She's got a nice little jump shot on the outside. Nice middle game. So, but yeah,
And I don't think she has a middle game. I'll be honest. She doesn't really have a jump shot, really, very far away from the basket. But she does. She's a very aggressive offensive rebounder and a very good rebounder. And
well, the whole team at LSU is they're some big girls. They can jump and they can. And the defense is you're driving in there, you're going to get your shot blocked.
Iowa only has centers that are 6'2".
Right.
So that's the problem. Hannah's 6'2", and then they have O'Grady that comes off the bench, and she's only 6'2". So they're going to have trouble covering her in the post.
Got to be boxing out. Got to be a lot of boxing out. Maybe double her to try to give her to give up the ball when she receives it. That would be. Don't leave her 1-on-1 because
if they do that and then LSU doesn't hit their threes, they'll be in trouble. But that the Iowa hits more threes than LSU. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go with my predictions right now. My prediction right now is that Iowa, led by Caitlin Clark, she's going to have a great game. She's going to be up for the moment, and she will pull them to victory, and then they will play the winner of USC and Connecticut. They will win again, and then they'll lose to South Carolina, who, of course, still has to beat North Carolina State before that happens. But I think they will. So I'm taking South Carolina over Iowa in the finals. And unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong because they could easily win because Caitlin Clark could make you win any game. They beat them last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think she's going to lose in the finals 2 years in a row.
Okay, so you're predicting South Carolina to win the whole thing.
Unfortunately. I don't want them to win. I'm not a
Why
big
not?
fan.
Why
because I'm a big Caitlin Clark fan. I'll be honest.
Okay, all right, okay.
I think she is the best woman college player since Cheryl Miller, and she is. In the last 2 years, I think she's played at a higher level than anybody in the history of women's college basketball.
Yes, she is. Well, my prediction is I think LSU is going to beat Iowa because they have, like I said, they do have the bigger inside girls and Reese is definitely a factor. And if they hit any of their outs, I think that LSU will. That's my prediction. Will beat Iowa, and then go on.
What about between Connecticut?
Right, they're going to play Connecticut, and I think they can also beat Connecticut. So, and I believe South Carolina will be in the finals. So it'll be South Carolina and LSU, and then I'm like you. I'm picking South Carolina.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm picking Connecticut against USC since I didn't say that. Iowa will then beat Connecticut in a great matchup between the two best players in the country, which are Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark.
Right.
Okay, so that's women's basketball. We had a lot of men's basketball. That's tonight. The men already had their both elite games. We right now have coming up next week. We got Purdue. They're going to be playing North Carolina State. The ghost of Jim Valvano apparently lives because they're in the Final Four.
Yeah, they're in.
And then we've got UConn coming up, and that's going to be they're favored by 11.5, and Purdue's
rightly so. Rightly so. I don't know if you watched them this year, Mark, but rightly so. They're well-oiled team, great coaching, and they play very hard. That 11 gap is no myth.
Well, they have in 10 games that they played in 2 years. I think almost everybody knows this because people keep repeating it. They haven't had a game closer than 13 points, and they were playing against Tennessee in their last game. I guess it was yesterday, right? So yesterday, and then they were tied at 140. I went back and looked at it because I was so surprised at what happened. It was 148. It was 23-23. They went and scored, and in the second half, obviously, they scored 30 straight points.
No, I watched that game. I had to rub my eyes. I'm sitting. I'm going when
Now,
they
this
did
is
the
not
stat.
against a weak team. As a number 3 seed, right?
No, Tennessee's a good team. SEC, Tennessee. I watched them. They were a good team. But I was like,
And,
yeah, I go 30-0 run. I'm like, okay.
I mean, some people like Michael Wilbon, and pardon the interruption, thought because of they're from Illinois, he's in Chicago, so
Oh yeah,
he's semi-Chicago based. He lives in Phoenix sometimes. He thought that Terrence Shannon Jr. was the best player in the country and was going to lead them to victory. He went 2 for 12 and hit 8 points.
They shut him down pretty much. I mean, Hurley is a great coach. He learns from his father, and of course he had that famous brother. I'm sure you know, Bobby
Hurley.
So, but he's a really good coach, and he knows how to adjust and how to get his players going and how to up his defense. Like I said, they've been there before, so they're really clicking. I really like Connecticut.
The other game, North Carolina State upset Duke, and behind DJ Horn, their two leading scorers are both named DJ, which is really interesting. But the main guy that he scored 29 points, and I guess I looked this up. He was 6'9" and 275.
Yeah, he's a big man.
He could get in shape better.
Well, no, he reminds me of Charles Barkley. If you've seen Charles Barkley back in the day against Auburn, he was like
but Charles Barkley was 6'4" and 3/4. So DJ Horn, though, is significantly taller than Barkley, but Barkley used to be overweight, but when he was in his prime in the NBA, he lost weight.
Yeah.
And there's a story behind that. He goes, Moses Malone said to him, he goes, "Why don't you like me?" He goes, "You're fat and you're lazy and you're underachieving." And Charles Barkley turned himself around after Moses Malone said that to him.
Great Moses Malone.
Anyways, so the thing is, though, he's been the last couple of games, he's been the reason they've won. And in this game, they're going against a guy who's 7'4" and 300 pounds. So not only does it outweigh him, he's going to be 7 inches shorter, right? So we'll see if he's able to do what he did. I don't think he's going to. DJ Horn, North Carolina State is playing Purdue, and they're favored. Right. They're favored by 9.5. And I think DJ Horn will have problems scoring like he did in the last couple of games, which is why they won against Zach Edey, who is 7'4" and 300.
7'4", yeah, he's 7'4".
And in the last game, Zach Edey obviously carried Purdue. He had 40 points and 16 rebounds. He was unstoppable.
And he's Canadian.
He's Canadian, yes. In another video, we'll talk about what his chances are in the pros. I'm more optimistic than some people. But
I think he'll be fine. I mean, he'll be fine. I don't think he'll end up like there's Chet Holmgren. I think he's better than him, actually. I mean, he can be. But he's a center. He knows his role. Like you said, knows his role inside, pick, rebound. So at his position, he's fine. He'll be fine.
So I'm taking Purdue, and then I'm taking Connecticut, and then I'm taking Connecticut in the finals. I know that's boring, but they're fake.
No, it's not boring. You're just very factful. That's right. That's what's going to happen. That's very.
I will say that I'll tell you right now. Since this is our first video, this is my theory on predictions. My theory on predictions is the whole point of predictions is to get as highest percentage right as you can, because that's what you're trying to do. I don't make these wild predictions to try to look brilliant 1 out of 10 times. The women's is actually, tonight. The men's is next weekend. And so we're going to end this video. And tomorrow we're going to have our reactions to the game. And eventually we're going to have some reaction to the.
All right. LSU.
The TV,
LSU.
The TV. I'm taking we're going to have reaction also to the TV.
Yeah.
When they come out.
We will see.
Okay. All right. Thanks for listening. And listen, please like and subscribe down below. Make some comments.